me on this wonderful, fine Monday morning. Well, it's fine for now. Let's see what happens, hey? Okay, so I've sped this up a little bit so I could leave a lot more of my process in and then obviously just voiceovering over the top of it. So, first of all, I want to just show you, see the little tray at the top? I make my own little trays so that, for example, that one I use for my ink. So whenever I'm inking something and I've got the either the daubers or the foam tool, like the Ranger one, or my brushes, I can just drop it in there, and I've got a piece of paper towel in the bottom of it, and that way I don't get ink all over everything and it doesn't stain my table, because my tabletop is just wallpaper, so it can stain. Well, it's contact wallpaper. I don't know. I got it from Amazon. It was cheap, but I really like it. So I'd like to keep it looking like wood, not like splattered mess. All right. So what are we doing today? So I'll be honest with you, I am in love with how this turns out. It turned out so good. This is 3 photos of my daughter, and she was getting ready, or one of my daughters, I have 3. And she was going to I think it was a sports carnival or a swimming carnival. One or the other, doesn't really matter. And she wanted to dress up all in yellow because that's her house color. And I don't know if that's what it's like for my American viewers, but here in Australia we have different houses. So our year levels are all broken up into, at high school there's they're named from the island. So there's Fraser, there's Stradbroke, there's Moreton, and there's Bribie. And my daughter's colour is yellow, and she's a Moreton Muddy. So she's a Moreton Mud Crab. That's what they're what do you call it? Yeah, the crab. What do they? Oh, it's left me. It's a. I've got sponsor in my head. It's not a sponsor. Right down below what it is. What is it? It's a who cares? It's their little thing. They've got a crab. So they actually have someone that dresses up as a crab. And then the other kids all dress up in yellow, and the yellow zinc, the whole 9 yards. It's really good. Anyway, this particular year my daughter decided she was going to dress from top to bottom in yellow, and I said, you've got to let me take some crazy photos because that'll be awesome to scrap one day. Well, that day has arrived. So what I decided to do was do the whole lot from scratch. So ages and ages ago, I found a mud crab. And then when it come to the title, I wanted to sort of do the cheer that, everyone does a cheer, and they're like, let's go Moreton Muddies, woo, So that's what I wanted it to look like. So I wanted it to be screaming off the page. So I wanted it to be bright and bold and pop off the page. And so what I decided to do was use my Cricut. And I literally typed in, for those that don't have a Cricut or an electronic cutting machine of any description, basically you use the Cricut software, and you've got the ability to cut out words like this, cut out shapes, cut out cut files that you can buy from other people, or you can make yourself. And you literally, so this crab, I downloaded it a while ago because I saw it and I thought, oh, that's a good mud crab. So I grabbed it. It was free of some, I think all I typed in was free PNG files, because PNG files is usually what I use. You can use SVG files. There's a heap of different ones you can use. I didn't want all the detail of the crab. All I wanted was the outside of the crab. So that's what I cut out. Now you can see by these 2 crabs, I'll tell you what inks I use in a minute. You can see with these 2 crabs, what I actually did is I put one on the page and then I flipped the other one. So I end up, look, I do both crabs, but I only end up using one. So, which was, it's okay. I know I'll use the other crab another time for something, possibly. Okay, what inks am I using? I'm using all my distress inks because, you know, they're new to me and I'm loving them. They are, I'm using squeezed lemon, mustard seed. That's the two yellows that I'm using. Then I'm using spiced marmalade and a tiny, tiny bit of Crackling Campfire. Crackling Campfire is wowza pigment. Woo! It is unbelievable. It literally, it would have taken over this entire crab if I wasn't very, very gentle with it. So as you can see, I've left all this process in. I really hope you guys appreciate that or like that. You can feel free to skip forward to the next bit if you know, but I've tried to leave it in because one, I love watching ink blending myself. Two, I'm not a pro at this. I've only just got my distress inks. I've finally jumped off the cliff and I've decided to go down the whole ink. You know, I've always been one that I'll use paint, watercolor, stamping, cut files, ephemera. I'll use that sort of thing. But I've decided that I want to. Now, I did buy. Now, if you're looking at this and you're going, why has she got two of the same colour? I did buy quite a while ago. I bought three of the large inks just to try them. And it just so happened that the squeezed lemon was the large one. And my little 1-inch cube is actually really juicy. And I love that. But I thought, I wonder how much easier it is to load up the brush from a big ink pad. Because my brushes are new to me as well. I got them from Amazon. If they're still available, which I think they are, they should be. They're only new to me. So I'll link those in the description. So the mustard seed really made this crab come alive. I'm using the yellows. I know mud crabs are not yellow. What I'm doing is obviously I'm bringing in the yellow and I'm trying to bring in a bit of shading. I've seen so many people do this technique and it looks so amazing. So I just had to give it a go myself. To be honest, this is the very first time I've ever done it and I'm wrapped. I think it looks awesome. So what else can I tell you? On my title, I have actually got I pay the subscription to Cricut so that I have access to all the Cricut cut files, the fonts, the everything. I didn't do that initially though. So if you're considering going into the machine world, whether it's Cricut, Silhouette, Brother, there's oodles of them. If you're planning on going down that path, see how bright that was? Wow. I was very, very, very dubious about using this to start off with. This one is actually the Marmalade. This one's Marmalade. But look how bright it is. Oh, it's so cool. But I digress. If you're planning on going down the electronic cutting machine. Now, I bought a Silhouette. I am not tech savvy whatsoever, even though my husband is a computer tech. However, I have a short fuse when it comes to electronics. That's why this whole YouTube world for me is so new and foreign and all that. But hey, I think I'm making it work. Let me know below if you think I'm getting this, if I'm improving. Do you think I'm improving? If you're planning on going, I do this. Seriously, I squirrel. I do it all the time. I hope it doesn't frustrate you too much. I have so much that I want to get out, and I feel like I have a very short window in each video to say it all. So I'll get used to it. I'll get there. Now, if you're going into and planning on buying one, I'll be honest with you. I had a silhouette, and it's like the difference between, in my head, it's the difference between an Apple anything, so iPad, iMac, MacBook Pro, whatever, versus Microsoft. I find Apple easy to use because everything has an easy application. Everything's easy to find. Whereas on a PC, I struggle because everything, you've got to click on something to click on to something else to open something else. I found the same thing with the Cricut versus the Silhouette. So I had a Silhouette Cameo 2, I think it was. And I sold it as quick as I bought it because I just could not work the software. It was just way beyond me. I bought a Cricut Explore Air 2 and I love it. It's simple. Nothing about it is difficult. You can make things bigger, smaller, flip them, create, what do you call it? Oh, look, what you can do on it is amazing. You can do intricate designs. You can do, okay, watch me here. This is me going, whoo, whoo, this is the Crackling Campfire. I had to very, very, very gingerly add this to the crabs. I'm sort of trying to wipe it off onto my silicone mat a little bit. And just to add that little bit of extra shadow where his little crabby claws are up in the air. I think, I found on one of the websites I was looking on the other night, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Crazy. Let me have a look. I think it was it Hobbycraft and Scrapbook Cottage? I think it was Scrapbook Cottage here in Australia. They had smaller brushes and they were dirt cheap. They were like $1. And I really, really liked. Now, see all this ink on my mat? I have a real issue with waste. I really do. If I can use a scrap piece of paper and pick up some of that ink and not waste it, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'll use that somewhere later on down the track. I could have just wiped it straight up, but I hate waste. Is everybody else like that? I absolutely detest waste. So, now, I've told you the inks that I used. I've shown you the crabs. Now, what I ended up doing was, the crab actually comes with bubbles, like water bubbles. Now, what I ended up doing was creating an offset. That's what I was trying to explain before. So, when I did the crab, I cut him out. Originally, I did him black, thinking that would be my offset. But then I thought, no, I will do a grey offset. But I wanted the black to make the crab sort of have a bit of depth. So I created an offset with it. The Morton Muddies. Now, the reason I left this bit here in for you is, one, I'm just adding a bit more. I got a bit more game. Once I'd used the colours a little bit, I thought, no, I can add a bit more on here. Now, the reason I left this in is to show you how easy it is to get these off. This is a new mat. This mat has only cut probably 4 things. Now, I start off, I'm slightly off screen, I'm so sorry. I'm lifting these up. Now, I'm just using my Cricut, my mini lifting scraping tool. Now that, see that lifts them up, not a problem. But if you do it like this, hang on a minute. I do fix this. Okay. So see how I'm bending the mat? See, they just pop off. If you bend the mat, use the mat to your advantage. They just pop straight off. I realise right about here, you can't see what I'm doing. See how easy they come off? You don't have to, you bend the mat, you don't bend your material. It is so much easier. I was always doing it the other way, trying to lift it and not bend the edges. So much easier. Just bend the mat. The mat can take it. I love my Cricut. I absolutely love everything about Cricut. I really do. It is so good and it's so easy. Now, am I excited about how these turned out? Yes, a lot. So as you can see, I've managed to, thumbs up, I got really excited. I was really, really happy with this. I did these on Sunday afternoon and we were having a humdinger of a storm. To say Queensland is going through some turbulent weather patterns at the moment, mate, it's out of control. It's ridiculous. Okay, so what I did, when I cut these letters, I created an offset. And that's my Xyron. I think I do a lot of this off. I don't hold a lot of it on camera. So I created the offset so that I could have a black background. What you see me doing here, see that big strip along the top? If you've never used a Xyron before, it's a sticker maker. So anything that you can fit in. I've got the large one and the small little cross one. To be honest, half the time I forget to use it. The reason I used it this time instead of using, for example, my art glitter glue, because I've used distress inks, when that gets wet, it reacts. So I didn't want to chance putting a bit too much glue on something. So I used my Xyron machine. I've had this thing for, the Xyron I've had for 15, 16 years. The glue, the sticky rolls, the replacement rolls, they're dirt cheap, honestly. And I love them. And it made them into stickers, made that job so much quicker. And they're down permanently. You can get repositionable and you can get permanent. I use permanent. Then what I figured was, all of this, by the way, I have done the whole thing using white cardstock, grey cardstock and black cardstock. No patterns, no nothing. I've just done it all with ink. Just building it up, creating layers, blah, blah, blah. So what I decided I needed in the background was some colour just running behind the photos. I realise a lot of this is going to get covered up. I knew that before I started. However, I just wanted some splotches. So I just did the packaging technique. Why? It's easy. It's easy. It's less mess. Simple. Takes next to no ink. So that's what I did. Now, while I'm doing this, what else can I tell you? So the white cardstock that I'm using, that's just my heat tool. Again, I'll reiterate, I do need to get a new one of those. This one, it still works, you know. But I got mine from, where did I get mine from? I think I got it online from China or something. But it works. It dries it. It does fine. So I used, let me see, my photos that I'm using, they're full 6x4s, 4x6s, 6x4s, however you want to say it. Now, oh yeah, that's right, I do. I add a little bit extra when it comes to the darker orange. See that big blob? I had this fear that I was going to flip it over and, yep, exactly what I feared happened. I got a big giant splotch. I just added too much water. That's all it was. Is it the end of the world? Heck no. Just cover it up with something. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Just so you know, a few things about me while we're cruising through this. Yellow is my favoritist colour at the moment. I have been drawn to yellow big time over the last 12 to 18 months, and I love florals. I love my Cricut. I'm buying more dies to go with my die cutting machine. Okay, here I'm just trimming 1/4 of an inch off 2 sides so I can give myself that's my swatches, by the way. So I can give myself a quarter of an inch of a border, a bit short of 1/4 of an inch of a border all the way around. I'm just using the leftover black cardstock from when I cut out the giant crabs. I'm just using my Easy Runner Grand to tape it all down. Then I have to go through and gut these bits out. But why waste the cardstock? I just want a little border. I've already hacked a couple of crabs out of the middle of it, so I might as well use it. Gives me a nice bold border. Still, I'm working on, this is kind of where my head's going. At this point, I'm trying to think about the eyeballs. Aha! So, what I did, I know the black crab is the same size as my coloured crab, okay? But I'm going to raise up, so I raised his eyeballs up. I end up using, you know those googly eyes? I thought they'd look cute. Silly but cute. So, see, I put some foam under there, just kids craft foam. It's dirt cheap. Get it from Spotlight. And looks like I'm going really fast here. I've sped it up. This way, my crab is sitting up a little bit, but if you look in from the side, you get the black. You see the black? And then he's just got a grey shadow. That, I was really, really happy with that. All this is from a free cut file that I got online. Super simple. So there's my crabby. See his eyes and that. See how they're all lifted up? Yay! I love my crab. Didn't bother doing the second one because I'd already worked out that there's just not enough room for the crab. So I just didn't bother with it. I'm keeping it though, because I'm sure I'll use it somewhere. We all say that, don't we? So here I'm trying to work out how am I going to do this. So I figured out I wanted to raise up the middle photo because that's the one where Angela's got all the attitude. She's a good egg. My kids are great. Look, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I know every parent says their kids are great, but we've had a few tumultuous years with Ange. She's had her battles in life, unfortunately, but she's come out the other side shining bright, and she is one amazing kid. Super smart, wants to be an engineer. Let's see if she ends up going down that path, but at the moment that's where her head's at, which is really, really good. What I'm working out here is, should I run the crab off the edge, or should I keep him up far enough that his whole body's on there? I am loving this guy. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. So I'm just trying to work out if I wanted to do the Let's Go and Morton, sort of bending it a little bit, sort of tilting it. And then I just commit. Just commit. I've cut out a lot of the backwards and forwards. Okay, so this is just black cardstock. The letters have gone on with the Xyron, and then I'm just gluing them down. So there's no dimension behind these ones, but it looks like there's dimension purely by creating that black offset. So if anyone's curious, there's hundreds of videos out there on how to create an offset. It's so simple and it's so effective. to be honest, I absolutely love having that contrasting edge colour around my letters. I love it. And that ink just, oh, love it. Okay, so this is where I made the decision that the photos needed to be matted on some black cardstock as well. So it just makes the whole thing pop. So I did that, added those, and then I realised I didn't do a black, I didn't mount, sorry, I'm fast forwarding this, so my hands look a little bit funny. I didn't do it on the middle one, but I'd already put the foam on there. That was fine. I just put the black underneath the foam. It totally worked. And then just sticking them down. These photos I print on my own Epson at home, and I use the Epson matte photo paper, and I get that from Amazon. It's about $36 for 50 sheets, 50 A4 sheets, and it just, wow, the photos are beautiful. And here we are, zooming in, having a look at the final bit. I hope you love it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for sticking around. And I will bring you another video in the next day also. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for sticking around. Bye.